Hello there guys, my name is Eelwood and today we're going to be reviewing For Honor, and to answer the ultimate question, is it worth your time? So For Honor is basically a single/multiplayer action fighting game set during a fantasy medieval age. There are three factions in the world: the Knights, the Samurais and the Vikings. Each faction is essentially at war with each other due to the actions of some hard-ass woman in warden/lawbringer armour, which becomes the leader of a certain knight clan, going around killing people in each faction and recruiting the most bloodthirsty warriors to start the Age of Wolves, as she calls it. While this is happening, she is also manipulating each faction so they are also at war with themselves and or each other. So we'll start with single player. Now, the story mode is pretty much 3 campaigns to complete. You have the Knights campaign while playing as a Warden, you have the Viking campaign while playing as a Raider, and you have the Samurai campaign while playing as an Orochi. Each campaign is pretty much flat out fighting for a particular cause which will benefit your faction in some way. So aesthetically this game is very pretty. Each stage, whether you're in story mode or multiplayer mode, is pretty much a medium to large arena, which you can't leave unless obviously the level is complete, similar to like a multiplayer level on Call of Duty, for example. This means more power can be spent on the graphics, so as you'd expect, the level of detail is very high. The colour palette used is quite dull to bring out a very realistic feel. The lighting effects are very nice. There's a lot of flames, torches and natural light used. This, coupled with various other weather effects and different times of the day, can really bring out the natural look of the game. Some areas, depending on weather effects, can also look completely different, which is nice. The OSTs in For Honor are pretty good actually. If you combine heavily orchestrated music with a male voice choir, that's pretty much For Honor music in a nutshell. But to be honest, as the game requires quite a high level of concentration, and the fact that clanking of swords and character sounds effects are quite loud, which is fine. It's not often you actually notice the music, unless you're either on, the main menu screen or the loading screen, or customizing your character. That's the only time you actually notice the music. Now for the gameplay. So there are multiple types of heroes you can play as per faction, which all have their own fighting styles, techniques and abilities. For Honor, as mentioned, has a single player story mode, but the true selling point of this game is undoubtedly the multiplayer aspect. Oh, and FYI, earlier I did mention only 3 factions. Well, there's actually a 4th now, but as far as I can tell, the 4th is multiplayer only and hasn't really affected the story mode whatsoever. The character movement in For Honor is hyper-realistic. Ubisoft have tried very hard to maintain a very realistic game, which doesn't question physics too much in terms of dodge speed, attack speed and rolling around. If you're a hero with a big ass sword, expect to attack quite slowly, and obviously vice versa for a light weapon hero to attack very quickly. So For Honor's gameplay is very similar to Dark Souls, that being the same third-person camera angle style, minimal UI, heavy one-on-one focus with group fights thrown into the mix. Similar targeting system where you can only focus on one enemy at a time, but what makes For Honor so unique compared to similar games is the guard directions. So guard directions are 3 directions on your screen. You've got a left, a right and an overhead, which you can essentially attack from or guard from, in a nutshell. Throw in a few other features like guard breaking, light attacks, heavy attacks, parrying, dodging, deflecting, unbreakable attacks and dodgeable attacks, faking or feigning attacks, and you've got a very strategic game with a easy to learn but hard to master type of style. As each hero has their own strengths, abilities and weaknesses, you can even specialise in what you like to play with. So for example, if you like to use a lot of unblockables, there's a hero for that. If you like to dodge all over the place, there's a hero for that. If you like to guard break a lot, there's even a hero for that as well. Now, although For Honor is a game consisting of heroes with armour and weapons fighting to the death, there isn't a big focus on gear at all. In 1v1 and 2v2 multiplayer fights, gear bonuses are actually disabled, so the armour and weapons you have equipped are purely cosmetic. Only in 4v4 matches are equipment bonuses active, but although this is the case, the bonuses you get aren't really that good anyway. Winning 4v4s in For Honor is just like winning 2v2s or 1v1s. It's all about the player's level of skill and experience that gets you wins, not your gear or reputation. FYI, reputation is kind of like prestige of Call of Duty again, just except for a specific character, pretty much. Now the game is very balanced in terms of hero selection. There aren't really overpowered heroes, to be honest. Now, many people would disagree with that statement, but it comes with experience. Once you have developed enough skill, you'll get used to the more common hero classes played, and you'll be able to deal with them a lot easier, but, with reputation comes skill. I love how For Honor is a big focus on cosmetics, and if you really enjoy making your character look good in games, then you will definitely enjoy this game. There's so many effects, executions when you finish someone off. You got emotes, armor and weapon variants, armor paints, your logos, styles, ornaments to choose from. No two heroes, even if they're the same hero, will look the same, unless obviously you've just started and you're level 1 pretty much. There are only 3 bad things I can really say about For Honor. Number 1, the loading screens are quite slow, in all fairness. Number 2, I wish there was a way, like an in-game option where you can make the guard directions a little bit bigger, but I suppose that's not really a bad thing because sitting closer to the screen will most likely solve that problem anyway. And number 3, it's a Ubisoft game. Now, Ubisoft do love the moolah, so every cosmetic item and certain characters have to be bought with a currency called steel. Now, you can earn steel pretty easily just from playing the game normally, but saving steel can take a while, which makes in-game purchases of steel very tempting, especially if you want a particular hero or a particular cosmetic. If I were to summarise For Honor into one word, I would probably say competitive. It's a perfect game to play with friends online in single or team matches. It's a game that requires a lot of concentration and skill to excel in. As I said, it's easy to learn but hard to master. The learning curve, to be honest, is quite steep, especially in online ranked matches and higher level online multiplayer. The game can potentially be harder than Dark Souls PvP in my opinion, and Dark Souls is obviously an infamous game for its difficulty, if you didn't know already. But that shouldn't put the more casual gamer off. It is a lot of fun, it's easy to pick up and have a few games on, and you can really piss off a lot of people by, spamming emotes. You can throw people off ledges, and you can use a quick chat command in-game that your opponents can see, which really pisses a lot of people off. It is very satisfying to play For Honor, but it's more satisfying to play For Honor well. So, for the ultimate question, is it worth your time? My answer is definitely, yes, definitely. I'm going to give this game a 4.5 stars, or 86 out of 100. Due to the potential level of difficulty and the story mode not being that great, I can understand it's not the casual gamer's cup of tea. However, it is very satisfying to play well, like I said, and if you're willing to learn, you will really, really enjoy this game, honestly. Although, as I said, the learning curve is quite high. If you're the kind of person that really enjoys difficult games and, developing your gaming skill, and it's almost as if you can feel yourself get better at the game. If you enjoy games like that, and, you're happy to take a few beatings off people, and you're happy to go up against the odd hardcore player which will kick your ass. Now, me personally, I love it. If anything, I prefer going against people which are a lot better than myself. Well, I'm not the best For Honor player ever. If anything, I wouldn't even consider myself that good. I'm reputation 20, and I still don't know how to feign correctly. There's a knack to it. But like I said, if you're that kind of gamer, then you will fucking love this game. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, if you can't really handle difficult games and you're the kind of person to get fed up and turn it off, then I wouldn't recommend it really. But for the price, it was free on the PS4 network not so long ago, so I assume it's quite cheap on there at the moment. So definitely, like I said, it's got a high rating, so 100% very good game. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see other games I'll be reviewing in the future, and comment if you have any requests for games you'd like to see me review. I'll see what I can do. But all the best guys, take care.